You hear a snare drum.
What do I hear?
You hear a tom-tom.
What do I hear?
You hear a bongo drum. Bass drum. Snare drum.
Tom-tom. Bongo drum.
This is a field drum used in a band, marching in the big parades all over the land. Then we add some cymbals and the bass drum. Now we have percussion for all our marching fun.
What is the sound that I'm hearing now?
That is the timpani. These are the chimes of an orchestra. Now you hear a xylophone. What is that ringing in my ears?
The tiny one is a triangle.
And the big one is a gong. This is a drummer in a rock and roll band. He plays a bass drum, snare drum,
Tom-tom and the cymbal.
all at once. Now we add a bass and a regular guitar and electric organ. have percussion for all our marching fun.
What is the sound that I'm hearing now?
That is the timpani. These are the chimes of the orchestra. Now you hear a xylophone. What is that ringing in my ears?
The tiny one is a triangle.
And the big one is a gong. Now let's put them all together for our percussion sound. Bass drum, snare drum, tom tom, bongo drum, cymbal, steel drum, xylophone, chimes, triangle, and the gong, 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 gong. Last but not least, we have the timpani. All together they make noise, just like a lot of girls and
Yeah, that
Hi.
was Crash Bang Boom. That's a film which regrettably we couldn't include, and in the toe tapping tourney.
Because there's no little ditty. There's no, we would have had to play the whole film. And I do think that we should have a whole contest of entire films that are just music, like that car one,
Oh yeah,
And this
that 10
one.
little engines.
10 little engines, and this one, and
Yeah, and so at the end, so we're going to do the competition at the front end of the show, and then I'm going to play a bunch of runner-ups at the end.
all right.
So that's the plan.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, I'm Skip.
I'm Katrina.
This is the avgeeks lunchtime streaming show, and we've been this week doing our toe tapping tournament,
Toynament.
where we are listening to or watching 16 millimeter ditties, jingles, songs, musical phrases, etc. So let's look at the bracket. Let me.
That y'all voted on.
Yep. So if we look and see what happened on on Wednesday night, Thursday. Books Are for Burning, Trounced, Sal Minio's sleepy rendition of Kick the Head. Telezonia, Trounced, Plaque from Teeth Are a Good Thing to Have. Shake Hands with Danger, Trounced, Let's Find Something Better to Do. Although there were a lot of people that were championing that Underdog.
It's a good song.
Yeah,
and I think like anything up against Shake Hands with Danger at this stage was gonna lose.
Yeah, so I'm pretty impressed that the number of people voted for Let's Find Something Better to Do. It had something to do with the owl costume, I think. And then VD is for Everybody, that PSA beat the 70s cop theme sounding intro to Destruction, Fun or Dumb. And that was probably the closest one.
This round, definitely.
Yeah. And so what we're left with now is our 8.
The Elite 8, ladies and gentlemen, the quarterfinals.
So this is when it gets hard, and this is when I don't envy you for making these choices. And so what you'll do is we'll show 4 competitions of tunes, and then you guys will vote. Email your votes to skip@avgeeks.com. I would say, watch all 4 competitions and then email us at the end. And then, so we'll announce, probably on social media, I'll announce it, but then, we'll talk about it on Monday as well. And these, some of the criteria to think about, so we had different criteria that we talked about over this week. One is, is it a catchy song? Is it an earworm? People had their own criteria. Katrina talked about tassels. Is it a tassel twirling? Somebody emailed me and talked about twerking, which I don't know any of these would be twerkable. But the one thing to keep in mind is that we're going to pick 4 strong candidates that are going to go toe-to-toe with found footage festivals. They're going to pick their 4 best. I think they're going to pick 2 from that won this year and 2 that won the previous year. So they're going to be tough. They're going to be well-vetted competitors.
So it'll be the toe-tapping tourney versus the tournament, right? Do they call it something else?
Yeah, they call it a tournament.
Tournament.
There's so many terms that are floating around here. It's really... that's the one thing I'm like, I'll be done to stop talking about what we're calling it, because I love showing you the stuff, but come on, the overhead is killing me. All right, so we are going to start off things with acid versus drugs or like that.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, so both of these are drug songs. And
there are only 2 drug songs in this competition right now.
Left, yeah. Yeah, and only 1 VD song. So here is, we're going to start off with Drugs Are Like That.
Okay.
You start some things you just can't stop, and drugs are like that too. You pick it up, it's hard to drop, and drugs are like that too. A baby going through a phase, a player playing in a daze. You break a rule and you have to pay. Will it hurt? Well, who's to say? Singing, drugs are like that, drugs are like that, drugs are like that too. Singing, drugs are like that, drugs are like that, drugs are like that too.
So right off the bat, you started clapping your hands and tapping your toes. So that's a good criteria for a toe tapper, right? Because, you're tapping your toes.
And I do like the visuals there. I mean, the credits, but the drugs coming down, like, kind of magical. And he's singing so earnestly and so beautifully.
Yeah, that was Thy Changing Image.
Oh, yeah, them. Them. Thy Changing Image.
All right, so this next one is Acid, Story of LSD. And pretty much we're showing the end credits because that's where the song is complete. Mm-hmm. And this, potentially is a really awesome song to get you to try LSD. So this is Acid.
It has tremendous potential for good if used wisely, like atomic energy. Or it can provide for a whole holocaust of mental Hiroshimas.
I took a trip to find myself and me, and I saw love in purple, orange, green. My mind ain't feeling right, my mind ain't feeling right, my mind ain't feeling right, my mind ain't feeling right. I gotta find a new way of living, I gotta find a new way of life, I gotta find a new way of living. Drop that attack, acid, what you doing to me? Acid, what you doing to me? Acid, oh, what you doing to me? Acid, get out of my life, 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 get out of my life.
Wow.
This could be a mashup. I think we could do like drugs are like that.
Yeah.
Acid.
Yeah.
Drugs are
That's
like
not
that.
in my wheelhouse. But somebody out there in the world, you can do it. Just like how somebody did this amazing film about catnip, and basically wrote their own version of the Acid song, but it was with catnip. And it has a sitar in it too. So it's a very both those songs have their values, and so you have to vote. So think about what you want to do, and when at the end of the 4 competitions we're showing today, email us the vote.
Sorry.
All right. So what do we got next in the brackets? The brackets. Okay, we're going to jump over to the right.
Ooh.
And we're going to have Telezonia versus Magnificent Majors. Books Are for Burning. So here's Telezonia's Pick Up the Phone.
Do we have questions here? And do we need some answers? How do you answer the phone? Is that a good question, or is it not? Let me see if I can answer it for you. Pick up the phone as soon as it rings. Speak out your name, or answer with things like, hello, good morning, this is Bill. Pick up the phone as soon as it rings, then you will know what message it brings. Now can you do it? Pick up the phone as soon as it rings. Speak out your name, or answer with things like, hello, Lisa talking. Pick up the phone as soon as it rings, then you will know what message it brings. Do you want to be next? Pick up the phone as soon as it rings. Speak out your name, or answer with things like, good morning, this is Larry. Pick up the phone as soon as it rings, then you will know what message it brings. Would you like to be next? Everybody sing. Pick up the phone as soon as it rings. Speak out your name, or answer with things like, who's that?
It's got a keychain. There's a keychain in there. It's great. Such a great song.
Yes, very very jaunty. And it encourages you to sing. And so I try to, when I show it, I try to get people to sing in the audience.
Yeah. So hopefully y'all were singing along.
Yeah. All right, so this next film is called Magnificent Major. It's part of a series that talks about reading. And this one, a girl goes into the future where books are burned and outlawed. and the evil guy, whose name I can't remember, is basically trying to convince the young girl, who is Tisha Campbell, who later shows up in Martin, to burn her book. And it's set in a discotheque, and it is... What did somebody say? They said it was a combination of Xanadu and Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
So,
the visuals, right? And someone asked in the chat if you should be taking the visuals into account when you vote, and that's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
Because some of them, have. This one has amazing visuals. So does Telezonia, but the last two were just credits. So
yeah,
it'd be interesting to, like, if we just listened to the songs without the visuals, what would happen?
Right. This has choreography too, which most of them don't have.
And it has cheering, like a cheering in the middle, stopping and cheering. It's a great tune.
So this is you're going to be judging Books Are for Burning versus Telezonia's Pick Up the Phone.
What, may I ask, is a dear little cupcake like you doing with nasty old school books? My dear child, we haven't had school or books in ages.
No school? Really?
Why don't you get rid of that school book? You can drop them in here.
It'll get all burned up in there.
Well, of course it will, dear child. And so it should. Books tamper with man's basic, natural ignorance. Now, what could be worse than that?
But I can't burn this book. It's school property.
Nonsense! Apple sugar. You just need to get into the mood.
Books are not where it's at, teaching you how to spell cat. I know you'd rather play, so why don't you throw all your books away? Books are made for burning, the fire is already yearning to put an end to any learning.
1, 3, 5, 9, throw 'em in the fire's fire.
Put the books in the fire, see the flames growing higher. Burning books is our heart's desire.
2, 4, 6, 8, time to incinerate.
Books will not make you wise, and reading's bad for your eyes. I am sure you agree, so why don't you give all your books to me? Books are made for burning, fire is already yearning to put an end to any learning.
This one here is very good about a man named Robin Hood.
Put the books in the fire, see the flames growing higher. Burning books is our heart's desire.
No, I never liked Tom Sawyer. I won't be a book destroyer.
Books can only confuse, teaching you things you can't use. You should listen to me. Burning your books will set your mind free.
Books are made for burning, fire is already yearning to put an end to any learning. Put the books in the fire, see the flames growing higher. Burning books is our heart's desire. Books are made for burning, fire is already yearning to put an end to any learning. No, stop!
All right, so that was Books Are for Burning from Magnificent Major. That's one of the ditties you'll be voting on. It's that versus Telezonia's Pick Up the Phone. And that's hard, boy.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, I mean...
Either one would
Yeah.
be great in the next round.
Yeah, I really, really... I mean, all of these I like a lot, but, man, the more I hear that Books Are for Burning, the more I like that song. It's really great.
I think pulling it out of the film helps too, because the film's long, right?
Yeah, it's got some good songs in it, though. Some pretty great powerful. And Tisha can really sing. It wasn't proven in this one, but there's an earlier song when she's in the classroom where she complains about reading, and she can belt it out. So she's very talented. All right, so we're looking at the bracket next. Oh boy. This is Duck and Cover versus Malika Palika Do Skip 2. Malika Palika Do Skip 2 is a clay animated film from this company in Chicago. And this is a film about imagination. And I would say it's a cautionary film about how imagination can go way off the rails. Because it is really one of the craziest films that we have. The premise being, as will be sung in the song that you will sing, the premise being is that kids turn into beanbags and go to this magical land called Malika Palika Do Skip 2. So here we go. Here's Malika Palika Do Skip 2.
One shiny day, so I've heard folks say, a sister and a brother changed themselves to beanbags, changed themselves to beanbags. And went not far away, they traveled to the kingdom where imagination loves to play. Malika Palika Do Skip 2, Malika Palika Do Skip 2, strange things can happen there. And almost always do. In Malika Palika Do Skip 2, they found all sorts of things, like a talking foot with wings.
Well, haven't you ever seen wings with a foot before?
Well, haven't you?
And while this film is not about drugs, it is certainly influenced by drugs.
Yeah.
And there's at least one mushroom reference that shows up in the film.
And the intro is a good example of how weird the entire film is. And there's more characters, obviously, that are introduced, and it's wonderful and disturbing and confusing.
Oh yeah. So we go from that bizarre kind of surrealistic world into another bizarre surrealistic world. One in the 50s where we tried to educate kids what to do in case of atomic attack. And so this features our good friend Bert the Turtle, and this is Duck and Cover.
Deedle-dum-dum, deedle-dum-dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered.
He did what we all must learn to do. You
And you
and you and you.
duck and cover.
So that's short, and it kind of the song shows up throughout the film, but that's the gist of it. And I would say that this film was instilled into a whole generation of baby boomers and some generation Xers, and so I think the viewing maybe showed a little bit, or the voting kind of showed a little bit of that. There was a little bit of a skew for our older viewers. Who were waxing nostalgic about that. Malika Palika Do Skip 2, I don't know if you can wax nostalgic about that. I mean, it is so beyond anything.
But they're both good tunes.
Yes, there are very good, catchy tunes. All right, let's look at the bracket and see what remains. What remains here? All right, this is the hard one coming up. This is super hard. Shake Hands with Danger versus VD is for Everybody.
Do not envy you.
Yeah, this
not
one
envy you.
is something else. I mean, they're both super strong, and they come from different places. Like, one is a country western song written by Jim Stringer, and I think lyrics are by Herc Harvey, who was one of the filmmakers at Centron Films. And the singer, a lot of people have always kind of ventured to guess on who the singer was. You know, some people are like, is it Johnny Cash? Is it Waylon Jennings? Is it... And the singer is actually this guy, Charles Oldfather, who was a lawyer, who was also part of the dramatic department at University of Kansas.
Huh.
And so...
A Renaissance man.
Yes. And so he would occasionally do voiceover work for Centron, and it shows up in one or two Centron films. He also shows up in the film The Day After as a farmer who is all smudged and burnt after atomic bombs hit Kansas. So, and I found him. I was like, oh, there he is, Charles Oldfather, because his voice is so distinct. So anyways, here's Shake Hands with Danger.
You weren't thinking. You mean you'll work on engines and machinery and not think of your own personal safety? Here, shake hands with danger.
Shake hands with danger. Need a guy who ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Finger Joe. Shake hands with danger. Find it anywhere you choose. Be careless for a moment. Spend a lifetime with the blues. Shake hands with danger. 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 And friends I used to know, compared to them I'm lucky to be just Three-Finger Joe.
Wow. Yeah. So, zoom in on the dead guy.
We don't know he's dead, do we?
He's critically injured.
We realize that this bracket is the safety bracket. We've got VD safety. Well, we don't learn the safety, but warnings.
I would say that the next film, VD is for Everybody, it's a public service announcement that was shown on television, so it's short. It's like probably 30 seconds, if even that. And I would say that this is an ad for venereal disease. And what it is reminiscent of and what it predicts is all the ads for medication for sexually transmitted diseases.
That are on now.
Yeah, that are on now, which shows happy, smiling people enjoying what's going on. And if you listen to the words, then you will know what all those people are smiling about. It's that they're suffering from some sort of ailment, and this is going to take care of that. So this, and also what the side effects are. So this film, VD's for Everybody, has a super catchy song. I've found people online, drag performers, dressed up in makeup and hair and everything, singing this. It's so good. It's a wonderful torch song. I said the other day that it would be great in cabaret. It just feels like it's part of that. Mm-hmm. So here is VD is for Everybody.
VD is for everybody, not just for the few. Anyone can share VD with someone nice as you. VD is for everybody, darling, have no doubt that anyone can
If you're curious or confused, get information or a pamphlet at most pharmacies or a health clinic. If you need help, see a doctor.
La, 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 la.
I am curious and I am confused. And whatever VD is, I want it.
Because people are so happy.
They're so happy and so pretty. They've got their lives together. What can I do to get VD? I'll have to talk to my doctor about that. Really phenomenal song. And all of these today, phenomenal songs. So I don't envy you, but I trust you. We went through and narrowed things down from 32 songs to 16, and you folks have narrowed it down to 8, and now I'm going to trust you to email me at skip@avgeeks.com and narrow it down to the strong final 4 that we're going to take and crush. I mean, basically, we're going to crush. So what you're going to be voting against is you're going to vote Acid versus Drugs Are Like That, Duck and Cover versus Malika Palika Do Skip 2, Books Are for Burning versus Pick Up the Phone, and Shake Hands with Danger versus VD is for Everybody. So this is, like a traditional tournament thing. So those are the ones so you'll be voting between those competitions to come up with the final 4.
So we're on the quarterfinals, the Elite 8 going down to the final 4.
Right.
The semifinals, which will be, then those 4 songs will go up against 4 songs that have won tournaments that the Found Footage Festival fellas have put
and
on.
They're going to be skewed more 80s and 90s, and we're going to be straight up 70s, 60s, maybe 50s. I don't know. We'll see.
I know.
All right. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Katrina, for joining us and for doing all the work.
Great fun.
She's been tabulating the votes and reading your great comments on what you have been writing about, which is hilarious. So I'm reading comments. Yes, anybody can vote.
Anyone can vote.
Anybody can vote, and I want everybody to vote.
And one vote, like one person votes once for the whole 4. We have your emails.
Yeah.
One email gets 4 votes.
Yeah, and you have until 1 o'clock tomorrow to register your vote, because I know that some people watch this later. So 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Everybody can vote. I want everybody to kind of, we don't ask for ID. All right. Thank you, Katrina, for joining us.
Thanks,
We're
everyone.
Closing out April in an amazing way, and what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you the runner-ups. So these are a bunch of songs that we went through, including some songs that are not some songs where we already showed a song from that film. So some films had more than one song.
Oh, right.
And so, like, there's another Talazonia song in there, and there's another Let's Find Something Better to Do song. It's a weird calypso song about vandalism. There's another film made by that same company which features puppets, and it's called Riding Cool to School, and it is amazingly awkward and yet somewhat catchy.
But don't forget to send us your votes for the final 4, and send it to skip@avgeeks.com, and we'll read them and tally them, and we'll see you on Monday.
Yes, and we'll announce who won. I'll probably also announce on social media on Facebook, the AV Geeks thing on Facebook. But I'll be back, to tell you more. But also, I'm going to put in, somebody mentioned, like, it'd be great to have a compilation of some of these. So my friend Ian Shannon and I, way a long time ago, more than 20 years ago, we did a CD compilation called 16mm film soundtracks. And so he just uploaded it to the Internet Archive. And so what I'll do in the comments, I'll put a link to that. And you can listen to them, you can download them, etc. All right, so here are the AV Geeks Toe Tapping Tourney runner-ups.
isn't yours at home, school, or park. Vandalism is to draw on the wall pictures and words that don't belong at all. Ugliest sight that you've ever seen costs big money just to make it clean. Break a toy that don't belong to you, a very, very bad thing to do. It hurts the one to whom the toy belongs. You see them cry because you did wrong. Vandalism is to throw on the ground trash and paper you don't want around. Make such a mess, make people look mad. Put trash in cans, make everyone glad. Break a bottle against a wall, big mistake for one and all. It looks so bad, got to be cleaned up. Could cut the foot of kid and grown up. Vandalism is against the rule, makes so ugly neighborhood and school. Vandalism is to break or mark what isn't yours at home, school, or park.
Lines are fun. Look around, up and down, straight and round. Lines are fun. Look around, up and down, straight and round. Lines are fun. Lines are fun.
I feel a song coming on. I gotta do a little shantoozin'. Kid, this is gonna curl your hair. Taking it cool is riding it safe. Taking it cool is riding it safe. Taking the school bus and riding it right gets you there safely, and that's out of sight. Learn all the rules to keep you cool. Ride by the rules, and you know that you'll be riding it cool, riding it safely, riding it cool, riding it safely. Ooh, you're doing just fine. Well, kid, ain't I great?
I'm speechless.
You gotta line up single file. You gotta stay back from the road.
Oh, yeah.
You never push and never crowd. Take care, man, care, and not too loud.
You gotta let the big bus stop. You gotta go right to your seat. You never run and never shout. Take care, man, care, until you're out.
Stop, stop, stop. Then you can look all around. Think. When you act and you know you'll be safe now.
You gotta keep your head inside. You gotta keep your arms in two.
Oh, yeah.
You never fight and never throw. Take care, man, care, and take it slow.
Gotta let the big bus stop. You gotta let the front off first.
Sure thing.
You never rush and never run. Take care, man, care until it's done.
Stop, stop, stop. Then you can look, look, look all around. Think, think, think. When you act and you know you'll be saved now. Oh, yeah.
I love it. This is great. You gotta always cross in front. You gotta look both left and right.
That's right.
You never run and never skip. Take care, man, care, so you won't trip. You gotta know the safety rules. You gotta use them all the time. You never shirk and never fail. Take care, man, care, and that's my tale.
Serendipity, dip-dip-dippity, serendipity. What a wonderful way to discover things, uncover things unexpectedly. We sometimes find the things that mean the most, happen accidentally. Serendipity, the world's right under your nose. Serendipity, it's right there under your toes. Words can pass you by, so keep your eyes open and you'll soon be reading and writing words and using them when you speak. It's so easy. Serendipity, dip-dip-dippity, yeah.
Hey, Sniffy, maybe you got a cold. I'll give you some cough medicine.
Excuse me. I'm cough medicine. Once more, boys. A 1, a 2. I'm cough medicine. I help you when you cough. But little kids should keep hands off. Don't take medicine by yourself. You just leave us on the shelf, okay?
I'm a little red pill, I am blue. We might be dangerous for little ones like you. We are the medicines you don't know about. So stay away from us or you better watch out.
A lot of little kids get hurt this way, 'cause they can't read what the Bible say.
So if their tummy feels bad, go and tell your mom or dad. And that means you, and you, and you, and you.
Need some help, young fella? Here's a couple of coins, so you can make your call. This is a public telephone that you have to pay to use. Like paying admission to the movie. It's not like a vending machine. You don't get any change back. You must have the right coins. Lift the handset, drop the coins right into the slot. Listen for the tone before you start. Put your finger in the circle of the number you need. Turn the dial to the right with a little bit of speed. Turn the dial to the right till your finger goes no more. Take your finger out, the dial will go to where it was before. And when you're finished all the numbers, you'll hear it ring. That's how you do the telephone thing.
Hi, Fanny. This is Joe. Want to go on a picnic with us?
we're going on the town. Gonna gather lots of different things that can be found. Maybe we'll stop by to say hello and howdy do. If you'd like to join with us, we've got the job for you. Call your friends and relatives and people that you know. Tell them that you might be stopping by to say hello. If they've got a box or two of old aluminum cans, or no deposit bottles, never mind about the brands. Oh, 'cause a bottle's always made of glass and paper is made of wood. Some cans are aluminum and aluminum is always good. There are places for recycling these and many more. And recycling is the thing the world needs more and more. Have you ever stopped to wonder just how many trees it takes to make the daily papers people always read? Every book and magazine is made of wood, you see, and wood is just another name for what was once a tree. So won't you bring your wagons and carts and paper bags, bring your buckets and canvas stacks. We're collecting old cans and dirty pans, bottles, rubber and paper stacks. Recycling, recycling, pull your wagon from door to door. Recycling, recycling, using things we've used before.
Everybody has feelings, feelings every day, and it's alright to have feelings, feelings every which way, because feelings make us people, people who can say, I'm a very special person and I'm feeling this way today. For there are happy times and sad times, silly and hairy, scary times, mean and need to scream times. How do you feel right now? For there are lonely times and friendly times, gay and let's go play times, frown and feeling down times. How do you feel right now? For there are serious times and furious times, jealous and even envious times, glad I'm so mad times. How do you feel right now? Everybody has feelings, feelings every day, and it's alright to have feelings, feelings every which way, 'cause feelings make us people, people who can say, I'm a very special person and I'm feeling this way today.
Wow, that was a lot, right? I mean, we had to go through, so this last weekend, Katrina and I went through and tried to hone all that down. And I know that there's songs in there you were like, I can't believe that didn't make the cut. But yeah, it was hard, very hard work. But yeah, I think we've got some strong candidates. Just as a review, you're going to be voting, and you have until 1 p.m. tomorrow. I know tomorrow's Saturday. But it's worth it. It's worth for us to figure this out. So again, you'll be voting Acid versus Drugs Are Like That, Duck and Cover versus Malika Palakadu Skip 2, Books Are for Burning versus Telezonia's Pick Up the Phone, Shake Hands with Danger versus VD is for Everybody. Already people have been voting, and I appreciate that. Also, I like the comments people have had about the decision-making process. It's kind of interesting. Some people have a very defined sense of what and why, and others just go with a gut reaction or a knee-jerk reaction, or they love that owl policeman. That seems to be one of the criteria that people had, was like, you know what, Shake Hands with Danger is a good song, but I love that owl policeman that shows up. Awesome. All right, so I got one more film for you to watch. I should say that today is, in theory, the last day that I'll be here in my basement of my home, and I will be back at the archive starting next week. Probably because it's going to take a while to move equipment, we probably won't have the telecine hooked up until later in the week, but we will be there broadcasting live. That's the plan. Now, everything could change based on who knows what, but that is the plan, and you'll get to kind of see me in a new space. You won't have this weird projection screen again behind me that is covering up our washer and dryer. You might get to meet my assistant. You know, all that stuff. It's all the wonders of having been fully vaccinated, being able to actually work with other people. And also, I'll be able to, once the telecine is hooked up, I'll be able to pull a lot more films. And so I think there's lots and lots of films on the horizon. This is a film that was very, very faded red. And where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, it's up here. And it was part of a series of films that I got from somebody on eBay who had a bunch of films about Hammond organs and promotional films. And this one is about the science of sound and musical tone. And I think that this was actually an exhibit at a pavilion at the 1964 World's Fair. The colors was faded super red, and we tried to make it not so red, but I don't think we did a good job. So, but here it is. It's awesome nonetheless. The science of sound and musical tone. So I have a new feature here that allows me to pause, and I wanted to pause on the China girl, or the leader lady at the beginning, who's different looking than previous ones, but there she is. Oh well. Enjoy.
All sounds, whatever they are, originate as vibrations. Any substance can vibrate if it has elasticity, or the tendency to return to its usual shape after being distorted by some outside force. Sound vibrations are transmitted through various media. Sound waves reach us through the air, through a solid, or through a liquid. Sound waves spread outward like ripples on water, in all directions, fanning out from their source. This is the famous Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. We are here to take a look at one of the new exhibits on the science of sound and musical tone. Hello. You know, sound is a fascinating thing. There's so much to learn about it. And there's no better place to learn than right here at this exhibit of the science of sound and musical tone. Let's start with sound generation. How sounds are created. And to illustrate that fundamental principle, let's start with our old friend, the tuning fork. As we know, to form any sound, something has to move back and forth in quivering movements or vibrate. And it's these vibrations which form waves of sound. And these waves of sound are transmitted through solid, liquid, or air. The only medium sound can't travel through is a vacuum. The dial indicates the amount of air in the bell. As the air is pumped out, you'll notice that the sound dies. Let's suppose this panel is magnified air. The lights represent the air particles. Let's suppose, too, that sound waves created by a giant tuning fork are passing through the air. As the blade of the tuning fork vibrates, it first pushes the particles of air near it outward. These particles collide with neighboring particles, which move outward and collide with their neighbors, and so on. Then, as the blade returns to complete its vibration, the air particles rush back to fill the space left by the blade of the tuning fork. In other words, it's a bump and a rebound of air particles. Vibrations create alternate compressions and partial vacuums of air particles. When the vibrations or sound waves stop, the air is exactly as it was. Yet the sound waves have traveled completely through it. Sound travels approximately 1,100 feet per second through the air. Of course, light travels very much faster. That's why the flash of lightning is often seen before you hear the accompanying thunder. Sound travels roughly 4 times faster in water, about 4,800 feet per second. Knowing the speed of sound in water helps the sonar engineer in the submarine to navigate underwater. Now the sound must be received or heard by the ear. We really have 6 ears, 3 on each side. The outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. The outer ear catches the sound waves and directs them along the auditory canal, where they bombard the eardrum, setting up vibrations that are passed on to 3 tiny bones in the middle ear: the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. With increased force, the sound waves enter the compressed fluid of the inner ear, called the cochlea, where sounds are received and transformed into nerve impulses racing to the brain. No one knows exactly how this happens, but the mechanism that transforms this sound into nerve impulses is called the basilar membrane, uncoiled here to study it better. This membrane, which is actually very tiny, supports about 23,000 hair-like nerve endings. When any part of it vibrates, nerve endings are thrust against the overhanging tectorial membrane, and we hear. Of course, we can't see sound waves, but scientists have developed an instrument which translates sound waves into visual patterns. This instrument is called an oscilloscope. The lines or pattern you see here is, in effect, a picture of my voice. The movement of these lines indicates, among other things, the number of vibrations per second that the sound of my voice creates. Every different sound or tone creates a different number of vibrations per second, and it is the number of vibrations per second that determines the pitch of a tone. Here's another pattern created by a pure musical tone. It's called a sine wave. Watch the oscilloscope as this tone creates more vibrations per second, or a higher pitch than the one just played. Watch the oscilloscope again. See how this tone creates fewer vibrations or a lower pitch. Here's another example of pitch or frequency: a bicycle wheel and a playing card. The card is set into vibration by the rotating spokes. When the rotating wheel is speeded up, the card vibrates more rapidly, and your ear recognizes a higher pitch than when the wheel rotates more slowly. The pitch falls as the speed decreases. Intensity or loudness can also be seen on the oscilloscope by the height of the sine wave or curve. At the opening of the film, we heard the bark of a dog, the noise of a car, the music of a violin. Now, let's discuss these different kinds of sound. One is noise, like you heard from the dog and the car. Another is musical tone. Watch the oscilloscope. You can see how noise sends out irregular vibrations. Now, see how musical tones produce a regular-looking sound wave. The instrument sends out regular vibrations. Whenever we hear any musical sound, we're actually hearing a complex combination of fundamental or basic tone and harmonics or overtones. These harmonics or overtones are highly important. They affect the quality of a tone because it's the difference in the number and intensity of harmonics or overtones that makes a violin sound different from a clarinet, a trumpet sound different from an oboe, and so forth. This Hammond organ here in the museum is an ideal instrument upon which to demonstrate fundamentals and overtones, because use of the drawbars or tone bars permits us to isolate the fundamental tone from harmonics. Or we can blend the fundamental tone with combinations of harmonics or overtones to obtain thousands of variations of musical tones. There's an animated film within this exhibit which explains this very well. Let's go take a look at it.
Interested in music? Hammond gives the organist the whole orchestra to work with in these tone bars. Every musician, in fact just about everybody, would like to have his own orchestra to conduct. Of course, they'd like to play the instruments too. The orchestra is yours. Let's start with our string section. That's a picture of what the strings look like.
Hold on, Maestro. If you were a conductor, that is, if you were an orchestra, you could vary the harmony, change the tone color according to your taste.
Indeed you can. Like flutes? Just pucker up your white tone bars and blow. Like it? Invite a few more friends. Call out the whole orchestra. Perhaps you prefer the reeds. Gentlemen, a little light reed work, please. Let's do it in blue.
Short tour, Professor? Say, a little percussion?
Allow me. How about drums? Xylophones.
So, you're not only all the sections of the orchestra, you're the conductor, too.
Like I said, friend, you are the orchestra.
Interesting story. Now let's see how musical tone is generated by various instruments. The percussion instruments, such as the drum, are probably the oldest instruments of all. Skin is stretched tightly across either one or both ends of a hollow cylinder. When the drum head is rapped sharply, it vibrates. Drums may sound lower or higher according to their size and tension of their skin. The musical tones of a violin and other bowed string instruments are generated by pulling the bow back and forth over the strings, causing the strings to vibrate. At the same time that one hand moves the bow, the fingers of the other hand press the strings against the fingerboard to determine the pitch of the tone. The brass slide trombone represents a still different method of tone generation. The player blows into the mouthpiece and his lips act as the vibrator to generate the trombone tone. Different pitches are made by altering the position of the slide and changing the lippage. The clarinet is a member of the woodwind family. It's a reed instrument consisting of a cylindrical tube with a bell-shaped opening at one end and a mouthpiece at the other. The mouthpiece has a flat cane reed attached. It vibrates when blown, thus generating a tone. The tube contains open holes and holes covered by keys. The fingers open and close the holes and manipulate the keys to change the pitch of the clarinet tone. The Greeks had an early form of pipe organ as far back as 500 BC. Pipe organs, as we know them today, generate tone much in the same manner as the wind-blown instruments, the flute, for example. In the pipe organ, wind is driven over pipes of varying lengths. The length of the pipe determines the pitch. The electric organ, like this one we've been using here at the Museum of Science and Industry, was invented by Lawrence Hammond in 1935. It introduced a completely new method of electrical tone generation known as the tone wheel generator. When I pull out one of these tone bars and press a key, a minute electrical current generated in the organ is carried along a wire to the amplification system. This amplified current is in turn connected to speakers whose vibrations in the air produce audible musical sounds. Thus, the organ's operation is entirely electrical in character until the final speaker is reached. Now let's look at the tone generator and see how it produces these minute electrical currents. This cutaway section of the tone wheel generator shows how this disc or tone wheel is so placed that it rotates or spins right next to a magnet. Notice that the magnet has a coil of wire wrapped around it. Also note that the tone wheels are not true circles, but have a number of high spots or notches around the edges. As the discs rotate, they do not touch the magnets, but pass very close to them. Each time a high spot passes the magnet, it induces or generates a minute electrical current in the coil. One of the wheels rotates so that 440 high spots pass the magnet each second, generating a varying current, which when it activates the speaker, causes it to vibrate at 440 vibrations per second, which is designated A on the musical scale. The generator in this organ has 86 tone wheels, all of which are permanently geared together and driven by a constant speed motor. Because the tone wheels are driven by a constant speed motor, the pitch of the tones generated remain constant, and no tuning is ever required. The high spots on the tone wheels are so shaped that pure tones are generated. That means tones that have no harmonic or overtones of their own. Now, this purity is essential in order to attain pleasing tonal mixtures between fundamental tone and harmonics through the use of the drawbar. When a key is depressed, it closes 9 small electrical switch contacts. There are 9 such contacts under every playing key on the organ. Now, these contacts are connected to appropriate generator magnets as well as to the drawbars. The settings of the drawbars determine the intensities of the small electrical currents generated by the tone wheels. When a drawbar is pulled out all the way, it generates a current of greater intensity, thereby making that tone louder than if the drawbar or tone bar were pulled out only part way. Varied drawbar settings, then, actually call on up to 9 different tones at one time, each tone's loudness or intensity being determined by how far the drawbar is pulled out. Thus, thinking of 9 different drawbars, each with 8 different positions of intensity or loudness, it's mathematically possible to create literally thousands of tones. Or, on a more practical basis, an individualized variety of organ or orchestral tone effects. So we've covered what musical tone is and how it's generated. We've covered pitch. Pitch is determined by the number of vibrations created within a given length of time. Intensity is the loudness or the softness of the tone. Quality is what distinguishes one tone from another. A drum from a violin, an oboe from a trombone, a harp from a tuning fork. And that's where we started, at this interesting exhibit of Chicago's Museum of Science and Industry. But just hearing sound and musical tone is only half the real pleasure and satisfaction of music. The other half is in your creating sound, pleasant sound, musical sound.
Oh, wow, there was one at the end, too. I was wrong. So that was not at the World's Fair. That was at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, which I recommend going to because that place is awesome. You can actually walk inside a submarine. You can see what a coal mine looks like. It is immense structure, and it's really, really cool. So I would say check it out when things open back up again because it's really quite something. Anyways, thanks so much again for tuning in this week and today and for your votes because we do this. It was fun for us, and hopefully it was fun for you. And, we could do this on our own, but it's not nearly as much fun as interacting with you, reading your comments, and your contributions to what we do in your eyeballs, your ears. If you'd like to reward us in some way, you can buy us coffee at this link, buymeacoffee.com/avgeeks. You can also just hit like or subscribe, or you can share all three of the tournaments are still available on YouTube and Facebook, and so you can go and watch the previous episodes and see the ones that didn't make it. And like I said, you have until 1 p.m. tomorrow to vote. But everybody have a good weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at a new location on Monday, and we'll announce the winners. And as always, please rewind and love each other, and we will see you again soon. All right, take care, everybody.